Okay, hi everybody. It looks like we're ready to go. Today, I'm going to talk about advertising and try to convince you or persuade you that persuade you of my opinion. Here's my opinion. My opinion is that in the future, advertising is going to become less effective and less persuasive because of two reasons. One is globalization, and two, technology. First of all, though, let's talk a little bit about the history of advertising. Um, it goes back at least 5,000 years, according to many sources on the internet, to Egyptian and even Chinese times, when people were writing messages and ideas that they wanted to sell on swords and other items that were being used. Some of them were in rock, some of them were in metal, or even pottery. Now, that's 5,000 years ago. Let's fast forward really fast to about 600 years ago, and we'll go to Germany, where a man named Johann Gutenberg invented something called the printing press. The year is 1450. The printing press allowed humans to communicate on a scale that was never done before. Books were written, and massive political ideas were disseminated through populations. Not only that, but advertising exploded thanks to the printing press. About 500 years later, a man named Lee DeForest, an American, invented something we know as the radio. The year was 1920. The radio was a great means of advertising because you could take the programming and stop it for 1 minute or 2 minutes and then advertise the goods and services that were needed and wanted of the time. That was a huge increase in advertising. But only 7 years later, also an American named Philo Taylor Farnsworth in 1927 invented the television. The television took it to a new level because of the visual side of things. The radio, of course, was only audio, but the television was video and audio. And that elevated or lifted the ability for advertisers to make their products much more attractive and much more reachable. Everybody could reach them and see them better. The last little bit of technology that I'd like to introduce here is something called the internet. Most of us don't know life without it, right? I do because I'm older. But there was a Swiss man from Switzerland. His name was Tim Berners-Lee, who invented in 1991 the internet as we know it and the way that it's used. This one is similar to the power of the printing press that was invented by Johann Gutenberg in 1450. It's debatable which is more influential right now. In my opinion, I would say the internet is, but maybe I'm biased. Now, so we have a look at all of the technology that has brought advertising up to its level of today. And the same technology is allowing us to move away from it. We have things on our computers called ad blockers, which we have and we make use of. We have feedback to advertisers to say, I don't like this ad for these reasons. Although advertising is everywhere, and because advertising is everywhere, people are starting to dislike it a lot more and find ways to avoid it. That is the one main reason, the factor of technology that's moving its effectiveness or persuasiveness down or reducing the effectiveness of it. The other part of this whole picture is globalization. With globalization, we know that cultures are different, and cultures value different things, and what one culture really loves, another culture will hate, for example, or what one culture eats, another culture will say, no, I could never eat that. And advertising in a global environment is very sensitive and very difficult because an advertisement to one group of people might be very good, but it could be terrible to another people. And now with organizations such as the FTC and the Federal Trade Commission and Better Business Bureau, they all look at advertisements to see who's doing what, and if it's is it misleading, is it true, is it honest, is it fair. For example, some competition isn't fair, right? The way, like to say, for example, that the Hyundai Sonata is made of thinner metal than the Ford Bronco, right? That would be an unfair statement in the advertising world. So now you have a very complicated set of organizations and governments controlling and monitoring advertising that's everywhere and making sure that it's fair and honest. And you have consumers who are saying, I don't want to see it anymore. For these two reasons, I believe advertising is going to become less persuasive and less effective in the future. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you do great on the test.